got to feel a little bit better.
Oh, I feel great. Them guys was able to have a strong year last year. Was able to battle through a lot of stuff, from injuries and all that standpoint. And but at the end of the year, they was able to put it all together and put their best footing forward, I guess you can say, in the bowl game. And so it's a lot to build on. It's a lot to learn from. So them guys, I gave them a little assignment to do at the end of the year once they was able to kind of get some rest, recovery, reset, and then actually, once they got back into it, once before we started spring ball, they had kind of some stuff that I advised them that they probably should do as a player to try to help their game.
You got a couple guys who were there this spring coming back from injuries. Those guys.
Yeah, everybody's back healthy. Everybody's ready to rock and roll. So those guys are excited. They had a very strong summer. So I think they kind of just excited just to get back started. It's an exciting time of the year right now, because football is right around the corner. So they just trying to finish this strength and conditioning on a high note. Have a few days to kind of reset, and then it's time to rock and roll. And I'm excited to get on the grass with them and kind of see the hard work that they've been putting in.
CJ, after the first year was just grew, what did you go into this first year last year? What accomplished was it? And what did the three of them combined? What did they do to progress you and meet your goals?
That's a great question. I really just wanted to accomplish trust, honestly. There wasn't huge high expectations of such a young group, but I wanted them to be confident in their ability. I wanted them to know that they can play on this level. But the biggest thing for me was just getting that trust, because I didn't recruit any of those guys in the room. Obviously, I followed their careers in high school and obviously their recruiting process, but I didn't have a chance to sit down in their living rooms and try to recruit them. So going into it, I just wanted to just build that trust with them. And it was a two-way street, and it took some time. And I think as the season went on, it got better and better. And I think now we're in a good spot from a trust factor. And those guys understand that I'm here to help them to be better as a young man, and then as a football player. So I think if we continue to just to build on that, I think we'll be in a good spot.
CJ, going into your second year as a running back coach, what's the difference last year being the first time and this coming season? What's the difference?
Well, the biggest difference is that we got a different offensive coordinator, so that's going to be adjustment. But we had a strong relationship, or a strong building, a bond for the bowl game, so we kind of got that familiar, and then really just understanding the offense a whole lot better. Last year it was trying to just learn the offense and get the terminology down, understand the blocking scheme, understanding what people are doing, understanding the concepts, because it was new. It was different from what I was accustomed to playing in and being around. So this year it's a lot more familiarity with just the terminology.
What did you learn about yourself during last year?
What I learned about myself, really just trusting my instincts, honestly. I really had to rely on that, and really just trying to do it my way, I guess you can say. And sometimes once you get into coaching, what I learned early is that you can kind of try to start doing it other people's way and try to mimic what they was doing, and it kind of get you off who you really are and not being authentic. So that took probably about 2 or 3 weeks for me to adjust from that. And then once I did that and realized, hey man, I can just only do it my way. I can only be who I am. I can't be somebody else, I guess you can say. Once I did that, then I kind of settled in and really just picked up.
Coach Elliott just kind of let you go, right? You appreciated that?
Yeah, I did. And I think that was huge, because he really wanted me to get my feet wet and really understand it. But at the same time, he was great if I ever had a question or if I didn't understand something. He was always a great listening ear and always very helpful for that. And really, he made that transition very smooth for me, and he built a lot of confidence in me and myself by just letting me have the room for myself instead of being together as the initial plan was to be.
Did you even know what your way was going into last year?
Well, I knew that that I wasn't going to be a yeller because I didn't like that as a player. I thought, coaches that done all the yelling, they just done that for whatever reasons, for attention or whatever the case may be. But, so I knew going into it that I wasn't going to be a big yeller, but I knew how to get my point across. But there was still a lot that I didn't know going into it just because it was new. It was first time, and so it was totally different than the players. So that's where a veteran staff like Coach Elliott, like Coach Robert Caldwell, like Coach Streeter, and Grisham, who had already been through the process, those guys came in and very helpful to make that transition smooth.
You spoke about veteran coaches. What was it like to platoon those guys and to get them used to platooning and then dealing with the injuries that you get preparing the other guys to pick up the slack?
Yeah, it was different. Anytime you have injuries in your room, it definitely hampered. But that also allows somebody else to pick up their game and to step up and showcase what they can do. It sucked that some of your best players get injured because I ain't gonna say at a disadvantage, but you ain't at your full arsenal, I guess you can say. But those guys fought through it, and we always talk about it. Well, I always stress to those guys anyway, is that you always want to play away from being the starter. So you better prepare like you're the starter because, at the end of the day, they're not going to cancel the game. They're still going to kick it off, and you got to be ready to go out there and execute. And for us in our room is that the standard doesn't change no matter who's back there in the backfield. It still remains the same. So when Shipley went down, they gave Kobe opportunity, and then when he got nicked up, it gave my man Phil opportunity. And those guys, they was prepared for it, and they went out there and they showcased what they could do.
What do you expect to see from Keith this year?
Keith?
Talented group.
I think he's great for our room. He comes in, wide open, eager to learn, very hungry. I think he's going to add some competition. This is a kid that's self-motivated, so it doesn't take a lot to motivate him. So I'm excited to get to work with him, and he's a great kid off the field, so that makes the fit even better in our room. And he's coming in there asking all the right questions. He's want to know from those older guys, which only been in the system. With Kobe's the oldest in there now. With Phil and Will, they only been in 2 years, but he's asking all the right questions, and those guys doing a great job of taking him up under their wing. And as a coach, you kind of sit back and you try to watch that stuff because I know as a player, I know how it was coming in as a freshman. Who's going to take who up under the wing and kind of show them a way because it's new. They're away from home for the first time. They having to go through strength training, having to adjust to college life. So you want to have somebody veteran that's going to take you up under their wing and kind of show you the way to try to make that transition as smooth as possible.
Will came in here last year and he was already one of the leaders.
Yeah.
What do you see different this year leadership-wise?
Will just picking up where he left off, honestly. He's very vocal. He came in with that. This is a kid that knows what he want to do in life, and he has his goals that he want to accomplish, and he doesn't get distracted from those. So, but at the same time, he does a great job of elevating his teammates' play, and that's what you want as a player. Can you elevate everybody else's play up to where your play is? And he does a great job of doing that. If you ever had a chance to watch him run rim sprints, I don't think he'd have lost one yet. He's always in the front. The kid has a very natural leadership skill.
One of the biggest areas that you have to train at high school, going back to college, was pass pro. And during spring game, Malta was picking up blitz packages and giving those guys a hard time. How easy was it for him to pick that up? Was that something you guys worked on over the spring?
Yeah, we just talked about it. The biggest thing is just knowing the identification. If you know who you're blocking, and then that make the job easy. But then just knowing, what type of rusher are the guy. That's the second biggest part of it is, is this guy a bull rusher? Is he a jump around guy? So if you know that before, the guy blitzes, then you can kind of have your game plan in your hand to be able to counter what he's doing. So, we did a good job, in the spring trying to study in guys of, what type of rusher they were and then just understanding where the blitz was coming from. And I think he did a great job of learning that.
Coach, with Shipley and Pace, how are they 100%? Can you take us through what they've been through?
Well, I don't want to get into that percentage. They'll be ready for fall camp. I just know they'll be ready.
How do you see their role How do you, in your mind, how are you dividing that up?
I mean, me and the coaches, we do a great job of keeping count of all the reps. So I have a chart which I know, how many reps they take each practice, and then over the time I kind of look at and kind of see what the numbers are. If I feel like, Shipley took a buttload, then I can kind of be able to let Colby or Marfa Man take some of the share off that. So I just have a system that that Coach Elliott provided for me that I kind of just go by, and that's kind of how I just keep the reps of that. But like you said, it's three great guys, and there's only one of us can run out there, and all those guys, they understand that. So it's a great healthy competition in there, and all those guys prepare as if they are the one that's going to run out there first.
With Brandon running the offense now,
Excuse me.
what do you think we're going to see different in the running game?
To be determined. I can't be giving y'all the juice. Nah, the biggest thing is just everybody just getting on the same page. I think, obviously we know that, running the football is going to pay dividends, as you get later in the season. So, you want to try to establish that early. And, I think Coach Streeter, he understands that this is not his first rodeo of calling plays. So, we had a great spring chemistry, just trying to get on the same page with everybody, making sure that we all speaking the same language. I think if we get that part right, then it make the transition smooth. But we're still gonna run the football. Like we said, we got three potential first or second rounders in the running back room that can go out and perform at a high level.
Yesterday, Will got named to the MAC squad.
He did.
And so about getting those kinds of awards and what to expect. How do you tell him to handle all that notoriety he's going to get this show just being named to that list?
How I tell him to handle that stuff, that's just somebody's opinion. You still have to go out and put in the hard work. And the good thing about Shipley is he understands that. I don't think he's a kid that kind of get caught up into that outside stuff. What list he on, what list he's not, and and that's where I come into play. I tell all those guys if you put in the hard work right now, and then once the season start, hey, you'll be right where you're supposed to be. But if you get caught up right now into if you're on the Doak Walker list or the Maxwell list and all these other lists, then you're getting distracted from the main goal, and that's to have a strong summer in your strength and your conditioning. So, he has a level head. He understands it, and, that just goes to credit to what type of player he is. Those people think that he's one of the best ones in the country, but he still has to go out there and perform at a high level, which I know he will. But that's great for him. That's awesome. I'm happy for him because I know what type of guy he is. So I'm happy that they decide to recognize it.
High school camp to have your guys out there running drills and take charge of that whole thing. What's that like watching those guys do that?
It just validation of that. Those guys understand the drills that we do in our room, and that they can go out and teach it. And then it also helps me because now I'm able to kind of just float around and see different high schoolers instead of just staying at one station. That I trust those guys, and then it just goes, like you said, it goes back to the trust factor. I know that when they talking about the drill, that they're not going to just be out there just talking about it just to try to go through the motions, that they actually know what they're talking about. They want these kids, they want those high schoolers to get better, and they're going to push them. So it was great to see. All those guys did a great job. Anytime they can come out there and help, during that time of the year is always awesome for us.
That knowledge they brought out there is something they picked up from you. Does that
Yeah.
validate you a little bit, or what you taught them to watch them go out there and just mirror what you do?
Yeah, well, just let me know that they listening. That's for one. But as far as that validation, it just I know those guys gets it, but it's just great to know that they actually paying attention. And like I always say, you never know if they're truly listening until you get into those type of settings. So to see that they actually listen and paying attention to the drills, that's huge.
CJ the football coach versus CJ the dad. Is the little one following in dad's footsteps?
The little one right now, man, you know what? He gonna have a good shot. He already done picked up a couple offers. So he already beat dad in that category. So we're gonna see if those committable offers, in about 18 years. But now he's doing great. It's great to be back in that feeling again. It's been 16 years. My daughter's 16, so it's been a long time since I had to change some diapers, and but he's starting to come into his own personality. He's kicking his feet. And then Dad, he making sure that he keeping that ball high and tight. And so we working through the process of trying to get him to turn over all the way, and hopefully in a couple months we'll be crawling, and then once we start walking, we'll be running. So I'm already preparing him for the training that lies ahead for him. Because I'm gonna ask him, do you want Dad, the trainer? Do you want Coach, the trainer? Or do you want the player, the thriller? Because it's different now. It's a difference between those three people. So it's going to be very interesting to see which one he picked. So if he chooses the player, then it's, I'll be older, but I'll still be ready to, show him the ropes. I still got it.
Coach, what did you learn from Alpha Man in spring when it was all him?
Man, I learned a lot. He was very prepared, and he took advantage of the opportunity. And also, the thing about Phil is that, I'm pretty sure y'all guys that had some encounter with him, is that he doesn't talk much, but this spring he was very vocal from a leadership standpoint. And, and I told him, you the alpha dog in here. These young guys, they're going to follow your lead. So, and he took that challenge and he ran with it. And he was very vocal, very demanding of the standard that's set in our room. And those young guys, they followed that. So I was very pleased with that, and I think and it kind of just set the foundation for his summer because, if y'all haven't seen him lately, he looks great. He's in a great spot. He's poised to have a big year, and so we just got to continue to build on that. But just the vocal standpoint was what I really learned because, like I said, he doesn't say a ton, but I think this spring gave him opportunity to kind of really open up and really, I guess, bring his personality out, and he done a great job with that.
Things really changed for him fast last year. He went from probably being a red shirt to, as you say, the alpha dog of spring.
Yeah, it did, and honestly, when you really think about Phil, it was just, the situation with so many guys in there, but I just knew in my heart of hearts that, that this is a guy that can help us. I had to see his high school tape. I had a chance to spend some time with him and see him on the practice field. I just knew that, eventually he was going to be able to help us. I didn't know when that was going to come. And, and the thing about Phil is that he's very understanding. He's big in his faith. So he didn't get down on himself. And if he did a great job of just coming and talking and was able to talk through stuff. But, I was very pleased for how he handled everything that took place.